even given those numbers that you're talking about, don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know. I have to respond.
On a recent episode of The Daily Show, Jon Stewart tore into Donald Trump's latest interview moment. A moment that, in a saner political universe, would be considered disqualifying. When asked a straightforward question, whether the president is supposed to uphold the Constitution, Trump responded with 3 astonishing words: "I don't know." That moment is more than a headline. It's a distillation of everything that defines the Trump era: chaos, misdirection, and an ever-deepening erosion of civic accountability. This video dives into what Trump's non-answer actually means, how it fits into a broader pattern of distraction and deflection, and what it's costing the American people, not just politically but tangibly, in lives, health, and national stability. Let's unpack the noise, pull back the curtain, and see what lies beneath the show. In the NBC interview with Kristen Welker, Trump's response to whether he should uphold the Constitution wasn't a misstep. It was a moment of unscripted honesty, a telling shrug from a man who has spent years treating the presidency like a reality show. The U.S. Constitution is not some philosophical suggestion, it is the legal foundation of the presidency. Section 1 of the Constitution explicitly outlines the presidential oath of office. "I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States." There is no ambiguity here. This isn't a trick question. It's not a debate prompt. It's the core job requirement. For Trump to say "I don't know" is like a pilot being asked if they should land the plane and answering, "Well, I guess that depends." The terrifying truth: this wasn't even the most ridiculous moment of the week. Jon Stewart labeled it perfectly: the flood-the-zone media strategy. Overwhelm the public with nonsense so they're too exhausted or distracted to hold power accountable. One moment Trump is talking about military parades, the next, he's proposing to reopen Alcatraz. Then he shares an AI-generated image of himself dressed as the Pope. Then, he's a Jedi. Then, he's blaming Biden for inflation while simultaneously promising a $90 million parade on his birthday. This is not harmless absurdity. This is calculated chaos. Psychologists call it cognitive overload. When people are bombarded with too much conflicting information, they stop evaluating facts critically. They either disengage or pick the loudest, simplest narrative. Often, the one screaming fake news. The loudest. That's what Trump relies on. It's not accidental, it's the strategy. While Trump parades AI images of himself wielding a red lightsaber, yes, red, which by Star Wars canon makes him a Sith, not a Jedi, his administration's real decisions are doing measurable harm. Here's a sampling of what's been quietly happening in the background. Food bank funding gutted. The USDA's Emergency Food Assistance Program has seen significant cuts under Trump-aligned budget plans. That means fewer resources for food banks that serve tens of millions of Americans, especially children and the elderly. These are not abstract policy changes. This is food insecurity, measured in stomachs. The FAA is falling apart. Stewart notes that the FAA was hollowed out to the point that Newark Airport became inoperable. After slashing oversight funding and failing to fill critical safety roles, airports are now plagued by delays, near misses, and staffing shortages that threaten public safety. 9/11's responders abandoned. One of the most egregious betrayals came when Trump's HHS, under the direction of RFK Jr., laid off nearly all staff working at the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health. That includes the very people responsible for monitoring and treating first responders with 9/11-related illnesses. These are heroes, many of them with cancer and respiratory disease, now left without federal support. How does Trump get away with it? Because instead of reporting on gutted social programs, networks are stuck fact-checking whether Alcatraz is still a prison or if Trump is eligible to be Pope. Spoiler, it's not, and he's not. In the same breath that Trump tells Americans to sacrifice, suggesting 11-year-olds only need $3 or $4 instead of 30, he's living in a literal gold tower, calling it possibly the greatest apartment in the world. This austerity messaging is a cruel joke when coming from a man who throws lavish parties, plays golf on taxpayer dollars, and calls billion-dollar parades peanuts. This is Depression-era cosplay. It's Trump pretending to be a fiscal conservative while his policies bleed public programs dry and redirect funds to vanity projects and military pageantry. And let's be clear, you can't fix the economy with parades. You can't cure cancer with doll rationing. You don't reduce inflation by confusing kids about why they only got 5 number 2 pencils in their Christmas stocking. While The Daily Show has done a masterful job skewering Trump's absurdity, satire alone isn't enough anymore. We need to understand the cumulative effect of this distraction. Every second spent debunking AI Pope memes is a second not spent talking about economic sabotage, legal evasion, and institutional decay. And worst of all, Trump's base eats it up. Because in a world where politics is performance, the guy in the gold-plated room with a red lightsaber gets the spotlight, even if the rest of the country is burning behind him. When Trump says, "I don't know about the Constitution," it's not ignorance, it's indifference. It's a shrug in the face of law, tradition, and democracy. And if we don't snap out of the media circus and confront the substance beneath the stunts, that shrug could become the defining gesture of American decline. So, the next time Trump shows up on your feed dressed as a Jedi or riding a tank through Times Square, ask yourself, what's he trying to distract us from? Because the real fire isn't the spectacle, it's what's burning quietly behind the curtain. Thanks for watching.